Hello everyone and welcome to Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with an 80s twist. I'm your host Clifton and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Happy July everyone. Hope you guys had an amazing July 4th weekend. I definitely enjoyed my time off. I went to Las Vegas. Very, very hot, but also a very, very good time. Can't wait to hear what you guys have been up to on your holiday weekend. Leave a comment down below or in the chat what you guys were up to. Would love to know what you guys got up to. I've heard some amazing stories over on my Discord of people going out, just really enjoying a pool day, having some barbecue, all this fun stuff. So let me know what you guys have been up to, and I'd love to, celebrate with you that we are making it through the week after July 4th, because trust me, this past Monday was a little tough. I imagine it was for a lot of us. But thank you for tuning in to another live stream. Tonight I have a really fun one. This actually was inspired by a new release that just hit my local store. If you saw the thumbnail and the title, I picked up 2 bottles from K&L Wine Spirits, which is my local liquor store here in Southern California. They also have some Northern California stores as well. But they had 2 very special edition Woodford Reserve barrels that I had to get my hands on. So that's kind of what today's stream is about. I'm going to be comparing 2 different releases. They're not considered single barrel picks. I don't think they just call it personally selected distiller select. But what we do is we have a pick from Louisville, Kentucky. So if you read let me act like you didn't read the description, because trust me, I don't always read it either. Woodford Reserve, the distillery, owned by Brown-Forman. They actually have 2 rick houses. So they have some whiskey aging in Louisville, which is like one of their kind of off-site rick houses. And they have their main rick house in Versailles, Kentucky. I made sure to look it up. Versailles, right? Not Versailles. Even though it's spelled like Versailles, I think in Kentucky they call it Versailles. Let me know if I'm right or wrong in the chat. And yeah, so they basically age and blend the whiskeys from the 2 different distilleries, or not distilleries, rick houses. And that's what we know as Woodford Reserve. I mean, for example, I have a mini bottle of just the standard Woodford Reserve right about here. If it will focus. Almost there. Almost there. I'm still playing with some camera settings here, so there we go. So standard Woodford Reserve right here comes in at 90.4 proof. It is a blend. It doesn't necessarily even say small batch, which, means really nothing in the world of bourbon, but that's the standard Woodford Reserve as you know it. But today we're trying 2 different barrels. One of each is from the different warehouses. So we're going to see how different these different warehouses are. Now, I think technically for it to be called a distiller select, they don't do the single barrels like I said. So one of these is a blend of 2 barrels from one rick house, and one is a blend of 2 barrels from the other rick house. So they're still technically a blend, not a single barrel, but you're getting the flavor profile from each of the different locations. So I'm really excited to see how they compare to standard Woodford, and which one I like better. But first of all, I want to say hello to some folks in the chat. By the way, if you guys are watching live and you can see and hear me, hit the thumbs up in the chat. I'm reading the chat. I'm like, I can't tell if you guys can see me or not. So if you can see me, hit the thumbs up. Like I said, I've been changing some camera settings around lately. But hopefully this higher frame rate is looking a little bit better than normal. There's a few other settings I still want to tinker with, but I just got home from work literally 30 minutes ago, and I had to eat dinner before that, so I didn't have too much time to tinker today. But I'm excited to spend the evening with you folks. Let's say hello to some folks in the chat. We have Doug from Taste and Sensibility in the chat. Zofer, what's up, Alfonso? M is here. M's one of our incredible moderators and members of our community. Tony Bag of Donuts and Brandon are here. Awesome members of the community. Who else do we got here? Who's here? Todd Squirrely T is in the chat. Todd is one of our Bourbon Terabyte members, which is one of the highest rankings you can have here on Bourbon Bites. Thank you, Todd, for being here. Who else is here? Fred's here. I think that might be it. There might be some delay in the chat. I'm not seeing any thumbs up yet. Can you guys see me at all? Let me check YouTube. Let's make sure we're actually live. That would be pretty important, right? If I wasn't live, then this was a weird intro for me not being on. Oh, it says I'm live. Oh, there I am. Okay, y'all can see me, at least some of you. Maybe there's just a bit of a lag. But hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday. I'm excited to see what the difference is between these whiskeys. How bad is the lag? Now I'm curious. How about, is there audio? Is there audio? Okay, it's a pretty big lag. I just said it's a bit of a lag, so if you guys are curious. Um, all right, it's all good. It's all good. We'll keep it going. I'll go ahead and take this chat off the screen because I think it might be delayed for you guys as well. I can see your chat. Don't worry. Don't worry about me missing them. I'll see them in the chat. I just want to make sure that the lag isn't as obvious for you guys. We got hanging with Bill in the chat. What's up, Bill? So good to see you. It's been a minute. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You as well, Eric Gunderson. Welcome. Good to see you guys. I'm good. I am familiar with you from other chats, but I'm so glad to see you here tonight. Thank you for stopping in and saying hello. Hopefully, we'll see you in the after party hangout, which is what I do for Patreon supporters and Bite Club members over $10 over on whichever platform you choose to support. We do an after party hangout after every Thursday night live stream, including this one. So I hope to see you guys there tonight. But yeah, let's go and get into some Woodford. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts and experiences with Woodford? I will say, listen, when I was getting into bourbon, Woodford Reserve was one of the first bottles I bought myself before I was like really into it, like, you know, like seeking reviews and everything. It was one of the first bottles I bought myself when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna take this bourbon thing a little more seriously. Let me go upgrade for my Jack and Cokes, my Jim Beam shots, you know, like what's the next step up? For me, it was Woodford. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with the standard Woodford Reserve Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Now, they all say Distillers Select, so I know that's kind of what I named this stream, but these are selected. They're not called single barrel picks. They're called personally selected picks. So we'll get into these. Now, it's interesting. This one does, they both say Versailles on the back as the location of where they were distilled, but we do know that some of these came from a certain rickhouse in Louisville and other ones came in from a rickhouse in Versailles. Also, hello, new member Eric. Thank you so much for joining. Hey, welcome to the Cliffy Bus. It's what we call our YouTube members here. Appreciate you. Thank you for signing up. You get access to some cool emojis in the chat. I see we have quite a few folks in the chat. Squirrely T is one of our Cliffy Bus riders. So you can support me there. You can support me over on Patreon, bourbonbites.com, wherever you want to support the channel. But most of all, it's most important to see that you guys are here and showing up this Thursday evening. So cheers to you. Cheers to Eric for becoming the newest Cliffy Bus rider. Let's get a taste of standard Buffalo Trace. Let's see. Or, why did I say Buffalo Trace? I don't know. I just did my podcast today. If y'all didn't know, I relaunched my podcast. It's called the Bourbon Bites Podcast. I did a review of Blanton Straight from the Barrel. So I was talking a lot about Buffalo Trace on that. So Buffalo Trace has been on my mind today, but this is not. This is Brown-Forman Woodford Reserve standard release. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. Thank y'all for tuning in. Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what I remember Woodford being. And like I said, it was one of the first I got into when I was trying to really get into drinking whiskey neat. And I think Woodford does a really good job of making a very balanced whiskey. It's not going to be like spiking in certain directions. It's not going to go too sweet, not going to go too bitter, not too oaky. To me, Cliffy. Monsieur hurts when I hear the Kentucky. I know. Oh, the Versailles. I looked it up though. That's what they say. They say Versailles. It's spelled Versailles. Versailles to the rest of the world. Versailles to Kentucky. Yeah, it's a very solid, well-rounded bourbon. I think for the price, you know, there's probably things I would recommend over Woodford Reserve personally. But I can't discredit it too much because it's the one that kind of got me into drinking whiskey neat. So it's a solid pickup, but I'm really excited to see what it does when we're breaking it down by its parts. So rumor has it that regular Woodford Reserve is a 5-to-1 blend of these whiskeys. So it's apparently 5 parts the Versailles barrels to 1 part Louisville. That's at least what they say, the rumors that I'm seeing online of these. So it's always a blend. Matter of how much is what, you know, that's on, you got to work there to know that. But I've heard it's about a 5-to-1 blend. So what we're getting here is a chance to try the one that has just the smallest amount in it, which is the Louisville barrels, and which one has the highest amount in it. I'm double checking that now. It's in my description of this video, so I'm like, what did I put? I kind of forgot. Can't remember if I said it's 5-to-1, but I can't remember if it's 5 of the Louisville or 5 to the left or the There we go. There we go. That's me. Hello. Yes, 5-to-1 blend. Versailles is the 5% or the 5-to-1. So these are normally Versailles bottles or barrels that are blended with a little bit of the Louisville barrels blended in. So I think what we're going to do to get through this experience is we're going to start with the Versailles barrels because that's going to be the most prominent part of a Woodford Reserve. Now we're going to keep this. This is our base Woodford. Again, nothing wrong with it. Not necessarily my choice for the price point. It's definitely not my favorite Kentucky bourbon, but it does serve its place, and at least in my experience with bourbon. And let's go ahead and pour some of these Versailles barrels. Now, typically, the plant that they use in Versailles is used to make the majority of the Woodford blend, the Old Oscar Pepper blend, or is it James Pepper? Shoot, I forget. It just says Old Oscar Pepper. And then it says Labrot Graham. I'm not sure what that release is. But the other one, the Louisville distillery, has the typical Brown-Forman profile. So things like Early Times, Old Forester, those are barreled and distilled there. But they all become part of Woodford Reserve. So what we're going to do is we're going to try the Versailles barrels by themselves and see why they decide to add in a little bit of their Louisville distillate in as well. Now, again, this is still called a Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. It's still from Kentucky, just different cities that they have these rick houses in. So it's kind of funny that they're doing a bit of a blend from two different locations, but it's still legally a Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And if you're curious about proof on these bottles, this was an experimental release from K&L Wine Spirits. I'll show you the label here, right here. So these were it focused for like half a second. There we go. Shoot. Okay, these were the Versailles barrels. They were picked on May 21st of 2024. Man, it keeps focusing and then not focusing. I'm sorry, guys. It's okay. So these were selected back in 2024. They just got bottled, though. So they've been sitting for a while. I'm excited to see how they do, though. So I'm going to go pour the Louisville ones as well, just so they have an equal chance to open up. These are both fresh cracks. I've not had these before. Bourbon for Bacon in the chat. Cheers. Good to see you. This is always a fun one to do, revisiting one of the first whiskeys that got me into whiskey. I don't know. For me, it's nostalgic. It's pretty cool. All right. I'm also realizing I'm not being very centered. Too many bottles here. All right, so the Versailles barrels. Now, it's interesting is the proof of these are the same proof as regular Woodford Reserve. So like I said, this one was 45.2% ABV. These are coming in at 45.2% ABV. So theoretically, these should be the exact same experience, but half of which are from this rickhouse and half is the other. So let's try the Versailles barrels first. Let me quickly remind myself what the nose of the regular Woodford Reserve is. Yeah, classic bourbon. I mean, sweet, nice bit of like milk chocolate for sure. It's been a minute since I've nosed a Woodford Reserve, so it actually is kind of nice to go back to it. Like a milk chocolate, a little bit of like a cinnamon, a little bit of like a cinnamon candy. A hint of oak. It's more of like a cedar versus like a typical oak note. But yeah, I mean, it's hard not to appreciate Woodford for what it is. But let's see if those notes come from Versailles or from Louisville. Let's nose the Versailles bottle. Oh, interesting. Okay, there is a pretty big difference here. This one is like a dry, it's like more of a graham cracker note. A little bit of the cinnamon, like kind of like the cinnamon grahams. You know, I got a little hint of the cinnamon on the regular Woodford. But it's almost like a, I don't want to say a protein bar, but it's like a very dry, not sweet, like nutrient bar. I'm just trying to think of like those emergency meal preps that are just kind of like a bar of just like pure protein. A little bit of that, a little bit of like I don't want to say Play-Doh. Play-Doh is weird, right? But it's got a little bit of that clay. Oh, there we go. We'll call it clay, not Play-Doh. A little bit of a clay nose on it. Interesting, though. I mean, there's some fruitiness. It's a lighter, almost a sour fruit. It's like there's like a hint of like raspberry there. Like raspberry, marzipan. There we go, marzipan. That's what I was looking for. Not Play-Doh, marzipan. Um, yeah, that's interesting. Totally different than the standard release on its own. And I'm really excited to see how it compares to the Louisville barrels, to see if those maybe round it out a bit. And I'm going to do a little bit of a blend at the end, by the way. We're going to see if I can match the Woodford Reserve flavor profile. We'll see if we get there or not. We'll try it out. Who else is here? I saw someone pop in. Whiskey Uncensored, what's up? Good to see you, Ben. Hope you're doing well. Heather Starkey's here as well. I don't know if I said hello. If I didn't, hello, Heather. We miss you. Hope to see you at the hangout. Love cinnamon graham. Me too. And on the nose, at least, that's like the most prominent thing. Let's go ahead and give it a taste, though. So let's. Oh, Richie Z's here as well. Cheers to you, Richie Z. Good to see you, man. Thank you again for the invite the other night. I'm sorry I couldn't make it. All right, let's try the Versailles barrels now. Cheers. Fred, I see your comment saying, sure enough, maybe I missed him saying it was the Versailles. Protein bars that taste. So that was more of a nosing note. Fred, I'm not sure what your first comment is. Well, there's the Versailles of it. Oh, yeah. So you're right. Yeah, I was nosing the Versailles barrels by themselves. So to me, that was that like little bit of like the marzipan, the like, just like, okay, this is gonna be such an awful note. Like, but bear with me, okay. This kind of reminds me of like a particle board kind of note. Like, let's say you walk in IKEA and you're taking apart or you're putting together the IKEA furniture. You take a good old whiff of that particle board. This is kind of what I'm getting here on the nose. On the palate, it's better on the palate. I just took a sip, but I want to make sure we're clear. These are the Versailles barrels here. Let's give them another taste. I promise that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Adam free in the chat as well. Cheers, Adam. Okay, on the palate. First of all, I almost made me have the sneeze. That was nosing it too deep. It's very malty, actually. Now that what I was originally getting as like a particle board or like a flat graham cracker, to me is actually kind of expressing itself more of a malty flavor. So maybe that's what it was. It was definitely catching me off guard on the nose, but on the palate, it's a little more familiar, a little bit more in the realm of, I don't want to say this of Woodford, but of American whiskey. I know Woodford did have their malt whiskey that came out a few years back. I'm a little bit reminded of that based on this mash bill. So it makes me feel like maybe there's a little bit, I mean, I don't know. Do we know? Are they different mash bills? Nothing I could find said they were different mash bills. It's just a location of aging. So as far as I'm aware, they're the same blend of grains. This just happens to be aged in Versailles. The other half has to be aged in Louisville. So that's really, really interesting. Prescription bourbon, cheers. And Tony, if I didn't say hello to you, hello, Tony. That's interesting. Very different profile from the regular Woodford Reserve. Let me go take another sip of standard Woodford and do a last minute little side-by-side between those two. Fred said specifically malt or perhaps more broadly cooked cereal grain. To me, this one is more like a malt, like a malted, honestly, Fred, it reminds me of like a single malt American whiskey that's not super young. Actually, one that has a good bit of age on it, but it's not got that like, I mean, it's cereal grain, but it's more of a dry, not like sour. You know, sometimes like cereal grain, like a younger malt whiskey to me is like a bit of a sour, especially American single malt. This one's not sour. It's very much mellow, muted. It's a nice flavor. It's just not what I would ever expect from a Woodford. Let me taste the standard Woodford again before I move on to the Louisville barrels. By the way, Heather says, don't forget to hit the like button. Yes, thank you so much, Heather. Apologies for not being able to feature the chat here. I'm still figuring out software solves for that. I want to make sure I'm presenting for the best quality for you guys. Hopefully this looks a little bit better than StreamYard. I think it does. At least you guys said last week it does. So I want to make sure you guys get the best quality, but also don't think I'm ignoring you. I have the chat pulled up right over here, just like you guys, reading through it. So if I miss your message, please forgive me. I will come back to it or remind me. Let's try the standard Woodford. Okay, now I'm going to like try to hunt for those notes. There's a bit of that malt, but it's like on the mid palate, like the back part of the mid palate. Very subtle. I mean, to me, this one, the Woodford Reserve, the regular one, is a bit more like of a nutty kind of quality, like even like a is it a walnut? It's like the nut that you bite. It's a little bit like bitter. Is it a walnut? Like, because it kind of numbs your tongue just a little bit. I'm forgetting what the name of that nut is. It's a little bit of that note on the Woodford standard release. Prescription Bourbon said Woodford is pot still. Yes. Actually, I think they had some info about their stills here too. Let's see. No, it just says that they're just two different distillates. Nothing about the. It says the classic recipe calls for 5 parts of Louisville, 1 part Versailles. Oh wait, you know what's funny? I got that mixed up in my description. So I was saying, like, I was thinking that this Versailles was like the prominent one for a Woodford blend, but it's not. It's actually the minor of the. It's a 5-to-1 blend. 5 of it being the Louisville, 1 to being the Versailles. That explains why this one's so malty and different. Okay, I'm a little bit more validated. I was about to freak out for a minute. I'm like, these are so different. How can this be a 5-to-1 blend? Got my numbers mixed up. So this is only about a 1 to 5 part of what makes up a Woodford. So now that I know that, I feel a little more confident going for another sip of my regular Woodford Reserve. So a numb nut, basically. Richie Z says regular Woodford's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know if you missed the top of the stream, but Woodford was the one that I bought when I was like, I want to take whiskey a little bit seriously. Before I was so devoted to like watching YouTube and stuff like that. Woodford was my first like serious bourbon that I bought. So totally get that. Tony doesn't like walnuts. Okay. No one is naming it. Walnut is a bit bitter. Okay, Fred, thank you for the reassurance. I was like, no one's commenting on my nut. Anyways, so yeah. Now that I know that I've got my order figured out, let me go back to the Versailles barrels, knowing that they are only a 1 to 5 blend. Because I think I was looking too hard to find standard Woodford notes in here. Yeah. Malty, dry, little bit of like a bitter chocolate. You know, I said milk chocolate on the standard Woodford Reserve. This one goes a little bit more bitter, a little more dry oak on the palate. Good finish. Honestly, this has a better finish than the regular Woodford Reserve by itself. So that is a good... I'm reading the chat. Thank you, Fred. I appreciate that my nut's not bitter. Tony says after party nuts. After parties do get pretty nuts, but not in that kind of way. At least not the after parties you guys are invited to. All right, time to move on to the other part of this experiment. So this is the Woodford Reserve K&L Louisville barrels. Now these were exclusively aged in rickhouses in Louisville, Kentucky. As you can see, it was selected the same date, May 21st, 2024. I know you can't see because it's out of focus, but that's what it says. It says personally selected K&L Louisville barrels. Same mash bill as far as I'm aware, same proof, 45.2% ABV. Let's see what these barrels bring to the blend. Now this is the majority. This is the 5-to-1, right? I'll say color-wise, it's interesting. Both of these picks or these barrel selects are lighter in color than the standard Woodford. It's going to be hard to show on camera. This is the standard Woodford, and then this is, I can try to pick them both up. Let's see. All right, the one closest to my face is the Louisville barrels, and the one furthest from my face is the regular Woodford Reserve. It's kind of hard to it's hard to see on camera. There's like a slightly lighter. That's what I'm going to say. Not lightly slighter. Slightly lighter. At least color-wise. Let's go to nose the Louisville barrels. Oh yeah, that interesting. That is such a Brown-Forman nose. I mean, this is like, I would guess in a heartbeat. If this were Matt Madness right now, I would guess in a heartbeat this is Brown-Forman. Now, would I know which one it is? No. But that is a very traditional banana-forward Brown-Forman nose. Which is so funny because going to the Versailles, there's not any of that banana. Honestly, the Versailles is so much darker. It's almost comparing side by side. The Louisville is like a sweet banana. This is more of like a dried tobacco. That's how different the noses are on these two. Yeah, much more familiar. It's all around sweeter. You can't get much oak on it, honestly. I got a bit of oak on the Versailles, but not the Louisville. Interesting. I mean, I would be very easily convinced that this is like an Old Forester, like a younger Old Forester, based on nose alone. Now, I've not tasted it, but nose alone, it kind of smells like a young Old Forester. But let's give the Louisville barrels a try. Cheers. Hmm. Okay. I mean, it's to me, it's less interesting because it's less complex. It's a lot more in line with what I would expect for like a I don't want to say bottom shelf Old Forester, but like a if you were to take like a the reason I keep referencing I want to reference Old Forester barrel proof bourbons. And the only reason I'm referencing them, we're not talking barrel proof here at all, but I'm talking about the blue label bottles. To me, they taste young and a little corny. This has that young and corny quality, but lower ABV, obviously. To me, it's a definitely more of a it tastes younger. I'll say that. Whatever they're doing here at the Louisville Rick House tastes a bit younger, but a little more in line with what I expect from an Old Forester mash bill or Old Forester flavor profile. Not bad by any means, but I think adding just that little bit of the Versailles makes Woodford Reserve a more interesting product because I don't think Woodford Reserve necessarily tastes like Old Forester. There are a lot of similarities. Don't get me wrong, but like let me go back to regular Woodford. On the nose, like I mean, if there's banana, it's like a darker, more desserty, like a it's almost like a blend between like it's like a bread pudding, like a very syrupy, sweet, thick bread pudding. I don't even want to say banana pudding. That's to me, it's a very different dessert. But the Woodford itself just smells like a bread pudding with like a lot of really sugary syrup qualities to it. Oh yeah. I mean, I see why they do the blend. Let's be real. Woodford Reserve, the regular shelf or bottle, is so well rounded and so balanced. It gives you the oak that you expect from a bourbon, but the sweetness, the dessertiness, the milk chocolateness that I think is approachable to anyone. Whereas when you're trying these two different sets of barrels, they are unique. Some of them have more complexities. I would say the Versailles one is more complex than the Louisville one, but that's not what they're going for a Woodford flavor profile. I think the general mission between Woodford Reserve is to make a good Kentucky bourbon that's approachable by the masses. And we see how much they support Derby Day and things like that. It's like Woodford Reserve is not meant to be I don't want to say this. I don't want this to come across the wrong way. It's not meant to be a bourbon aficionado's bourbon. It's meant to be, at least in my mind, a launching point into getting into bourbon. And for that, it was for me. So getting able to try like the parts by themselves and then trying a sum of the parts is really cool. Do I think either of them on their own are better than regular Woodford Reserve? Not really. I'll go back to the Versailles, which is the one that's the most unique. This was the one that got malty, a little bit of a dry note to it. To a more experienced bourbon drinker, I'm going to find more notes in that I think are nuanced and unique. But overall, am I going to say it's a better bourbon than regular Woodford Reserve? I don't think so. I think this is an example where the sum of the parts is better than the parts themselves. But how else would I have known that without this amazing experiment by the folks at K&L Wine and Spirits? Again, not sponsored. This is just my local liquor store. I picked up the bottles yesterday. Retail, by the way, they were 1 liter bottles of each of these, about $48 each. So not too crazy in price. But what a fun way to see, like, they're combining these two very, very different flavor profiles and making a consistent product that is loved around the country by millions. Let's just say it. But before I go, I do have one more thing I want to do. I know we might wrap up a little early tonight, but there is one more thing I want to do with these whiskeys. It's like I don't have a measure, right? Like I'm not gonna be able to do this properly, but I would love to try to see how close I can get to making a Woodford Reserve blend based on these two individual releases. Because as we know, or at least as we speculate, Woodford Reserve is 5 parts Louisville, 1 part Versailles. So let's see how close we can get. By the way, if I missed some chats, please feel free to let me know. I apologize. I'm not used to this format, so I could be missing some things. But I see that Perry's here from This Is My Bourbon podcast. What's up, Perry? Y'all gotta make sure to check him out. He's live on Thursday evenings as well, a couple hours before me. What else is here? Tobacco is the best note, says Emily. Yeah, I think tobacco notes on a well-aged bourbon are fantastic. Jeffrey Wack's in the chat. Jeffrey Wack, why are you here? You're canceled. You're done, buddy. Goodbye. I'm just kidding. But I love you. But if y'all missed my madness, I beat his ass. Just kidding. We love Jeffrey. Everyone loves Jeffrey. Let's see. Fred says, don't tell Chris that. He'll remind you that Woodford has 1.3 million distinct flavors in it. Wait, which Chris? What Chris are we talking about? Yeah, I know a lot of Chris's. Probably. Todd says the old Still Austin experiment. So for context, those of actually, I don't think it was any of you except me and Todd at the time that went to the New Orleans Bourbon Festival, not last year but the year before, or sorry, not this year but the year before. Still Austin brought out a bunch of single barrels, and they wanted us to recreate what their blend was of their standard release. And it was possible, but we were all given like 4 different single barrels, and we had to like blend them and figure out like what the typical blend is. And it was so difficult, but it was so much fun. I had such a great time with that. So let me see if I can like channel those skills that I had or didn't have that night. I don't know. New Orleans Bourbon Festival was a blur, but it was a good time. So let me finish out this glass. This will be our blending glass. And let's see how close I can get to regular Woodford we can do. Oh, Chris Tats. Gotcha. Okay. Man. Okay, before I do that, I will say, if I had to pick a favorite between the Louisville barrels and the Versailles barrels, I picked the Versailles. The maltiness is such an interesting flavor that, for me, it's one that I'm typically off-put by, but this one is done so well that I could see myself drinking this bottle much more than I could see myself drinking the Louisville barrels. So if that tells you anything. But we're going to be very unscientific here with this blend. So here's what we're going to do. The one that's a one-parter, right, which is the Versailles, we're just going to put a splash, right? And then we're going to try to 5 times that splash in the next one. All right. So this is the Versailles, right? Probably like just under half an ounce, right? Probably much more than I should have poured for this particular experiment, but we're going to go for it. We already got started. So theoretically, I need to get up like closer to the bottom of the line on the bottle. Trust me, I'll finish this not on the live stream. I'll finish it in the after party. Definitely too much whiskey, but I want to make sure I get the blend pretty. I mean, that's a good half an ounce. So I think I should probably do 3, closer to 3. Like that. How about that? Maybe a little less. All right. Let's say this is the blend. Let's say this is a 5-to-1 blend. 5 of the Louisville, 1 to the Versailles. What do y'all think? Do you think I need more, less? I don't know. I'm just guessing. I'll let it sit for a minute. I'm going to go back to the regular Woodford Reserve. Remind myself of the nose and the palate. Yeah. I mean, now that I've had the parts, like the banana and the graham cracker, it's like, oh, it's almost like a banana graham cracker. Or, you know what? Oh my God, wait. There's a note that I didn't get on this before. It's a moon pie. Do you know like moon pies, like from the South, like the chocolate? Well, there's other flavors of them too, but they're like chocolate and they have like a cream in the middle. On the nose, it's straight up moon pie. Yeah. I mean, every time I take a sip of the regular Woodford, I'm impressed for what it is. I think it's a very, very good entry-level bourbon, especially when you want to get into tasting notes. Jeffrey said them's fighting words for a rematch. All right, kick shook's ass for us. I'll try. I doubt it, but I'll try. Fred said I was wrong. I figured the Versailles would be too grainy and you'd prefer Louisville. Gotta say though, it sounds like the Versailles is older than the Louisville. I don't love young BF. Oh, Brown-Forman Nanner Juice. I was like, what are you trying to say there, Fred? BF Nanner Juice. I gotcha. Yeah. I think that to me is more off-putting than the maltiness of the Versailles. Yeah, I mean, that was a valid point, Fred, because I think you guys know that like malty cerealness isn't normally my jam, but it tastes well aged. It tastes like it's kind of it's like rounded itself out. less of the sour note that I sometimes get on that, and more of like a little boring. I'll say it's a little boring, but it's not like off-putting by any means. Whereas we're talking about the Nanner juice from Louisville. Yeah, to me that presents itself just too light, too young. It's fine, but it tastes like a cheap product. But let's see what the blend tastes like, right? We just blended together 5 parts of the Louisville, 1 part Versailles. Let's see if it balances it out. Let's give it for a nose. Okay. It's funny because I still see hints of both in each of it, more so than if I were to just try regular Woodford. Woodford to me comes across a little bit more softer, a little more caramel. It does have a little bit of that cinnamon that I got at the beginning, but the blend, it's a little harsh. It's a little harsh. I don't think I perfected this blend. It's not it's not scientific by any means whatsoever. But they are close in nose. I mean, you're getting the maltiness combined with that sweet banana. Whereas on standard Woodford Reserve, it kind of tastes more like what did I say? Like not a banana nut bread. I said it was more of like a bread pudding, but I could see banana nut bread as well. The blend, it's more of like a lemon bar, but like a banana lemon bar. Huh. I mean, I don't dislike the nose. I think it's interesting. Okay, I gotta go for a taste. Let's go for it. Cheers. This is the blend. Okay. Yeah, the blend, I mean, it's not bad. This tastes more in line with what I expect from Woodford. I think I actually got pretty close with my blend. I don't think it Heather said it looks so red on camera. I mean, yeah, but like I did pour a lot. I mean, like, look. When I'm drinking, I'm not normally drinking this much. Sorry. Someone's at my door and I'm trying to listen in. I don't have any packages that I'm expecting, so I'm a little nervous. The door closed. I think I'm okay. Y'all know some weird stuff's happened on this stream. Who knows? Okay. Anyways, the blend is closed. Oh, it's my hand. Oh, is it because I'm putting it behind it? Is that what you were saying? Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's still kind of. Listen, it's a camera. It's really hard to see it. I see what you're saying though. It does kind of look really red. Yeah, I can see that. It's because I poured so much of it, honestly. But I got pretty close. I think I put a little bit more of the banana. Like, I think if I were to do the blend, I know I said I was following what was suggested, that it was a 5-to-1 blend, 5 of the Louisville, 1 of the Versailles. I think to me, if I were to try it again, I would probably do 4 of the Louisville, 1 of the Versailles, because I think I did a little bit too much of the banana here. I'm getting swatted. No, please don't say that. God, that'd be awful. No. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it with as many people that know where I live, whether you guys are coming to visit me or sending me stuff. I wouldn't doubt it, but hopefully you wouldn't do that to me. If you do, at least give me some money for the trauma and the therapy required after. Yeah, I like the blend, but I think I like regular Woodford better. But I think this experiment was something that I don't think I would have ever had the opportunity to do if it wasn't for K&L. That is so cool, the fact that they didn't let them blend different barrels from different rickhouses. They're like, no, this picks from here, this picks from here. What a fun way to try these. So shout out to, I don't know if it's David OG over at K&L or just the team in general. What a fun idea. If you have a chance to try these, they have plenty of bottles available. I'm looking right now. It looks like they have about 70-ish in stock of each. If you're in Southern California or Northern California, check out klwines.com. Tony says first person to super chat $100 gets to swat Cliffy. No. I mean, I appreciate $100 super chats, but I'm not committing to that. Yeah, I mean, but all of this to say, Woodford makes a really good blend. I think I didn't appreciate what went into making a standard Woodford Reserve until I did this experiment. So, well done to the folks at Brown-Forman. Well done to the Woodford Reserve team. you have a quality product here at a very, very affordable price. Thank you to the folks at K&L for allowing me the opportunity to try it. But most of all, thank you all for watching this live stream. I know we're ending it a little bit short. I see Matthew Parks just got here. Matthew, cheers to you. Thanks for stopping in. We're going to head out to the after party a little bit early. I know some folks are joining us over there. Feel free to join us. Again, everyone on Patreon or bourbonbites.com at the $10 tier or up is invited to our after party hangout. Check out our Discord server. You can find it at bourbonbites.com. Tonight, some of you guys might be some special guests. Keep an eye out in the chat. But until then, this has been Bourbon Bites. Make sure to check out today's podcast episode where I reviewed Blanton Straight from the Barrel, talked about a new 6-year-old Castle and Key release, a new 6-year-old New Riff barrel selection option, and the Garrison Brothers Guadalupe 2025 Reserve, named after the river that Tony reminded me was part of the floods, but the bottle's going for a good cause, especially the cast strength release. So make sure to listen. A lot of the proceeds of that bottle are going towards the a trust in Texas that is supporting those victims. So cheers, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you've not yet done it. Hit the thumbs up in the chat if you are excited for next week. We have some guests coming up. I've made a few connections lately. I'm going to have some guest interviews very, very soon. So make sure to subscribe, whether you hit the all notifications or some notifications, whatever floats your boat. Make sure to subscribe. Follow me on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, wherever you want to find me, I'm there. New podcast episode every Thursday morning, new live stream every Thursday night. Cheers. Have a great rest of your evening. I'll see some of you on the after party, and the rest of you, I'll either see you at the movie night, which is at our $5 tier on Patreon tomorrow night. Don't miss it. Or I'll see you guys next week. Cheers. Have a great one, and I'll see y'all next live stream. Bye.